Suspension components, don't care about. Brake lines, don't care about. Brake booster, that's gonna be gone. Brakes are for quitters.
I found a reasonably priced 1964 Ford Thunderbird.
Yeah, I effed that one up. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're still working on finishing off this LS. But before we do any of that, as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and click the like button. Share the video with your friends. Go ahead and do it right now. It's absolutely free for you guys. It helps us pay for these bills. So before we get into what we're doing today, quick recap on the build. Still same 5.3 liter LM7 out of an 03 Avalanche. 363 stroker kit from CNC Motorsport. We've got the rotating assembly in. We've got the Texas speed cam, milling oil pump, ARP fasteners pretty much everywhere on the engine up to this point. Lifters are in, lifter trays are in, all brand new components. And yeah, that brings us up to where we're at now. And that is doing the long block. Something we said we were going to do in the last video, but then these little things right here is what set us back. In my haste of trying to get everything together, I forgot to get new dowel pins. So I had to wait almost a week for new dowel pins to come in when I got a set from ICT Billet. So now that we're caught up, what we're going to do next is we're going to put these heads onto this block and call it a day. Okay, not call it a day. We're going to throw the rock arms and the push rods and all that in. But after that's in, then we're going to call it a day. And after that, we're going to start on doing the wiring harness for this, because I'm cheap and I can't pay $1,000 for a wiring harness after I've already spent $15,000 on this engine up to this point. Don't quote me on that. That's a rough estimate. But this engine build hasn't been cheap. Alright, so to start us off, I got a set of head gaskets from Brian Tooley Racing. I don't remember the exact compressed thickness on them, but I think it's 51 thousandths of an inch. Of course, like always, I'm going to be running ARP head studs. Again, everything in this block is ARP fasteners. Overkill, maybe, but I'd rather have that peace of mind, and ARP has a very, very strong reputation in the car community and the engine building world. So I'm going to keep sticking to them. They've kept the 2JZ together throughout all of my dumbass shenanigans, and if they can survive that, I'm pretty sure they can survive anything this car is going to see. So the stud kit comes with three different size bolts. You got a long one, a medium one, and a short one. They're pretty easy to remember. The short ones all go up top. The medium ones go on the two middle ends on each side, and then the long ones go everywhere else. So I'm gonna start with the mediums just so I don't forget on this one. I'm gonna drop them down there, but first I'm gonna put some assembly lube on. yeah, up next, got our Brian Tooley Racing head gaskets. Now this has the part number and the lettering on both sides. So I'm going to assume they're interchangeable between sides. This is the pain with doing the studs in first. I'm not the only person who does studs first. If you guys do it gasket first, then studs, just let me know. Is it wrong to do the studs first? Alright, the next thing is getting the cylinder heads on. If I'm not mistaken, and there's a good chance that I am, but the cylinder heads on the LS are interchangeable. You can swap them from bank 1 to bank 2. There's no assign like this has to be bank 1's cylinder head. Unlike the Cleveland, which they are very specific on which one goes where. With the LS's, I think you can just flip them around and run them on either side. So, since they're not labeled, I'm going to go based off the valve release on the pistons. It's kind of my hint to what goes which. So as I'm looking at the engine, the exhaust valve is to the exhaust valve relief is to the front of the engine. So when I put this on, I know that the exhaust ports need to face me and that the exhaust valve needs to be facing the front of the engine. So that means that this guy is our there we go. All right, so now it's a matter of dropping the washers in there. You can see it's got a stamped side and a flat side. Stamp side goes down to the surface. Now you guys can't see what's going on this side, but it is legitimately just putting a stud on, or putting a nut on a stud. But let's see if I can help you guys out. All we're doing is running these down right here. Just tight. This. That right there is what I was worried about. So now these have to come back off. No. Caught it. Say one engine is better than the other. I'm just gonna say wouldn't happen probably one of Jay-Z. Now time to flip the littles. These weren't stamped on one side, they're split on both. Judging by the size of them, I'm gonna say it's because they don't carry that much of it. And I know how much I bragged about my Icon torque wrench and how comparable it was to Snap-on and how it was still going to be my go-to torque wrench. And it is. But that Icon torque wrench, the click style, only goes down to 50 foot-pounds as its minimum. I need to start at a 25 foot-pound pass, so I'm going to go back to using the digital torque wrench. But it is still my preferred torque wrench. Alright. Now if you're wondering, it does say to torque the big ones down all the way to their final torque spec before doing the smaller studs. So that's why I didn't go through all 15 of the studs and I only went through the first 10 of the main 10. Now I'm going to go find that Icon torque wrench just to make sure that everything did hit the 50 foot-pounds that it should have hit. And just so I can use it. I already paid for it. Oh wait, I missed a step. I gotta bring them all up to 80 foot-pounds. I'm definitely gonna use the big one for that. That's that for that. I'm going to zero this back out because I'm done with it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and do these small ones to 28 foot-pounds, and I'm going to call it a night for tonight. Like I said, got that class I got to teach early in the morning. So after that, I plan on leaving work early, and we'll come back and we'll finish this up. So there you have it. Bank 2-cylinder heads on, all torqued down. Only thing left to do now is throw this rock arm base plate in there and then drop the rock arms back in. And of course, add in the push rods. The reason I stuck with the 7.4 of an inch is because that's what Texas Speed recommended. They said from this application, this cam profile, the rock arm setup, and the horsepower goals, that stock rock arms and stock push rod size would be fine. They just recommended that we use new parts at the OEM spec. So that's what we did. We did reuse the rock arms themselves, but of course, as you saw in the previous video, we upgraded the trunnions. So that's the main failure point for the rock arms, at least for the stock rock arms. We did use new lifters, but we used OEM lifters. So the valve train, aside from the springs and retainers, pretty mild. But now, let's get the rest of the stuff put in so we can finally be done with the long block. well, I do think that's it for this one. We've got both banks done, both cylinder heads. Complete valve train is in, minus the valve cover and the manifolds. This is a solid long block. I do have to throw the rear main seal back in, and I got to throw the front timing cover on, but I'm going to hold off on the front timing cover just because we do want to get powder coated now. With all that being said, guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate the support. You guys have been awesome for us. We had a great 2021. Looking forward to keeping the momentum going in 2022. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at skunkwerks.projects. We'll see you next time.